After the success of our inaugural Volunteer Awards to mark our 25th anniversary last year, we decided to bring them back for a second year by popular demand. It's great to see so many of our members and volunteers from around the country here today, and we'll be taking this opportunity to celebrate the achievements of some of our unsung heroes later this evening. Our AGM is once again run as a hybrid event, with the meeting and awards ceremony also broadcast live on our website. So members who are unable to be here in person have the option to watch online from the comfort of their home. As usual, we will cover the formal business required for our AGM. You can see the agenda there. And we'll receive reports from our Finance Director and Deputy Chair, Caroline Godfrey, our Chair, Jill Day, as well as myself as Chief Executive, and our Chief Operating Officer, Ben Waterhouse. Members will then have the opportunity to ask any questions they may have for the board or the senior management team of British Dressage who are present here this evening. So please may I introduce, one by one, if they can give you a wave, Jill Day, Chair of British Dressage, Caroline Godfrey, Finance Director and Deputy Chair, Judy Harvey, our International Director, Hannah Moody, BD Youth Director, and from the senior management team, Ben Waterhouse, our Chief Operating Officer. I didn't get a applause. Amy Grevson, our Financial Controller. Welcome to Amy at the back of the room there. Lou Jones, Sport Operations Manager. Outside. Charlotte Osborne, our Training and Education Manager. Rachel Smith, Membership Experience Manager. Where's Rachel? Is she outside too? Millie Peters, our Communications Manager, in the back of the room there. And Chris Phillips, our Commercial Manager. There's Chris. Welcome to all. Following the AGM, and in the break before our regional awards, we'll also hear from each of the BD board directors in a 15-minute video segment. That's for viewers who are watching online, as they report on the progress that we have made in each area of the organisation over the last 12 months. These videos will also be available to watch online on our website after the AGM, along with the presentation that you see on your screens this evening, and a full recording of the proceedings. So whether you're here in person or watching online, thank you to all of our members and stakeholders, from riders, owners and coaches to our officials, organisers and volunteers, for your part in creating another record-breaking year for British Dressage. We really couldn't do this without your help and support. So without further ado, we now open the formal part of our AGM. You will already seen the notice of AGM, including our ordinary business, as well as the 2023 accounts for British Dressage on our website. I will therefore take as read the notice convening the meeting and confirm that we have received no apologies this evening. We will move straight to our first ordinary resolution, which is to receive the financial statements of British Dressage for the year ended 31st of December 2023 and the directors' and auditors' reports thereon. For this section of the AGM, I would like to hand over to our Finance Director and Deputy Chair, Caroline Godfrey, to present the 2023 accounts.
Thank you, Jason. We've moved to everybody's favourite part of the evening, the numbers. So our first ordinary resolution, I'm pleased to present the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023. Every year at the AGM, we are required to report on the latest set of audited accounts, which are signed off by the board and our auditors about June time, and they've now been filed at Companies House and at the Charity Commission. So most of what I will say relates to nearly a year ago, but I'll briefly touch on our current finances later. So, in 2023, BD incurred a deficit of just over 97,000. And this was made up of a deficit in the charity of 193,000 and a surplus in the trading company of 96,000. However, prior to the planned exceptional expenditure on designated and restricted funds, the deficit was only just over 20,000. We ended the year with 2.58 million in reserves, split between restricted and unrestricted reserves, with the latter unrestricted reserves including 180,000 that remains allocated to the designated funds category. And the auditors, who are now called Forvis Mazars, but it's the same company we've had for the last few years, once again provided BD with a clean audit report. So, we had a deficit. Were we concerned about a deficit, the first we've had for many years, and what created it? Naturally, any excess of operating expenditure over income in a year needs to be carefully reviewed. A surplus was expected prior to the deduction of designated funds, but some expenditure ended up being brought forward into 2023, and this resulted in the small deficit that we had. The members of BD continue to be loyal, with membership levels and horse registrations rising through 2023 and into 2024, giving a strong and stable income stream. And investment returns have also risen as expected, as the stock market has performed much better than in 2023. So our reserves remain strong, backed by bank deposits and investments, and we are still committed to reinvesting our funds back into BD through our designated funds policy. So some key numbers for 2023. Total income increased by 6.9% from 4.83 million to 5.16 million. Membership increased by 60,000, 4.14%. Horse registrations increased by 62,000, 5.7%. And competition and training activities increased by 171,000, which is 17.2%. And Jason will come back to that later in his report. And gift aid recovery did increase, but I would again ask all our members who pay tax to consider signing a gift aid declaration, because this will benefit BD at no cost to you. And for higher rate taxpayers, you will actually be able to reclaim some tax back as well. On the other side, our total expenditure increased by 15.38% from 4.59 million to 5.3 million. And as you will see on a later slide, the bulk of this increase was again attributable to more BD activity and competitions. But higher overhead costs were also a factor, such as a 7% increase in insurance premiums. So the next three slides show our income for 2023 in different ways. Firstly, a pie chart. You can see membership and horse registrations accounted for 51% of our income, slightly down from the 52.34 in the previous year. Competitions accounted for 15%, training and education for 19%. Once again, showing just how important training is to our membership. And there's the numbers that underpin that pie chart, so anybody who wants to look at them can see them in detail. And you can see the gift aid there, 174,000, which is effectively free money from the government by people ticking a box on our website. And this one shows the comparison in percentage terms of where our income came from in 2023 compared to 2022. And at this point, I would say, as always, if anyone has any questions on this or anything related to the statutory accounts that they want to raise after the AGM, then please do contact me via the office or grab me afterwards, or Amy, our financial controller, who's sitting over there. So expenditure. There are four broad categories for expenditure. The largest is entitled charitable activities, and that accounts for 79% of what we do. And that covers all that BD spends directly on the sport of dressage. Support overheads relate to things like administration, staff, rent, communications, depreciation of assets, etc. Trading costs are from British Dressage Trading, which is the company we have, which we're required to have because we're a charity, which deals with the commercial aspects. So when you order test sheets, etc., and the magazine, that all goes through British Dressage Trading. And there's been an increase in turnover, so our costs have gone up. And governance is self-explanatory. Audit fees, the costs of running the board, and that equates to just 1% of our expenditure. So again, a pie chart, and you'll see the big orange blob, which is the fact that the bulk of it is going on charitable activities. I can confirm that our costs remain well controlled. 79% on charitable activities, it was 77% last year. And again, there's the split of expenditure, 2023 versus 2022, showing where we spent our resources. So this is the balance sheet, a summarised version of the balance sheet. And at 31st December 2023, we had total assets of 2.58 million. And we held 3.45 million in investments, cash and deposits at the end of the year, if you add it up, because the investments are above the line at the top there, and the cash. And that's exactly the same as in 2022 by some strange reason. And we had current liabilities of just over 1.21 million. The value of our fixed assets has increased slightly because we continue to invest in our IT systems over the year, and costs on things like that are written off over a 3-year period in accordance with our written policy. And at the bottom, where it says represented by, the reserves show the split between restricted and unrestricted reserves, with the unrestricted split between the general funds and our designated funds, which is the amount we are totally committed to reinvesting back into our sport. So, the year to date, and we're already 10 months through 2024, and so I'm sure you want to know how we're getting on in the current year. Subscription and registration prices were increased at the start of the year, but at less than inflation was running, showing BD's commitment to keeping costs for members down, and despite our own overheads continuing to grow substantially. And whilst growth in membership numbers and horse registration has continued in 2024, this has been at a slower pace than in 2023. Participation in training and regional events remains very strong, and the development officers with Ben Waterhouse and our T&E team headed by Charlotte Osborne remain committed to delivering high quality and affordable educational activities for our members, officials and coaches. BD continues to invest in all its championship events, qualifiers and finals, knowing that these remain focal points for so many members. And finally, latest forecasts predict around a break-even position for 2024, which is better than was budgeted for and reflects our commitment to using BD's funds prudently. 2023 is the first year of expenditure from this designated fund reserve, which we are committed to reinvesting in a variety of projects to benefit all stakeholders of BD. And during 2023, of the original 250,000 we placed in designated funds, 69,500 was spent on new initiatives deemed to be in addition to core business activities. And to date, in 2024, a further 115,500 has been spent on various projects and initiatives to date. BD is committed to topping up these funds as and when our annual results allow, but we will also look at converting some of these ongoing projects, which have been very successful, into normal budget categories in due course. And again, Jason will come back to this when he talks to you in a few minutes. So, in advance of the formal receipt of the 2023 financial statements, I should state that Forvis Mazars, our independent auditors, were willing to attend this evening, but we agreed mutually that it was not necessary, as they were happy with the detailed, clean audit report contained in the financial statements. But I would like to formally record my thanks to them for their work on the 2023 accounts. The full statutory accounts are available on BD's website, and once again, if there are any post-AGM questions, then please do contact me via the office. And finally, as always, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of our members for your continued support, to all of our volunteers for your truly invaluable and hidden contributions, to BD's senior management and staff, and specifically to the members of the Finance and Business Development Committee who assist in exercising good governance and financial control, and you've got their names on the screen there. And last but not least, I'd like to thank Amy Grieveson, our Financial Controller, who joined us in April 2024, as well as the BD Finance team for all their hard work throughout the year, and specifically in preparing the 2023 annual report. I can confirm that we've received no specific questions on the accounts from members, and so I will now hand back to our Chief Executive, Jason Broadcom, for the formal resolutions.
Thank you very much, Caroline. So we have to, for our first resolution, propose that the financial statements, together with the Director's Report and Auditor's Report for the period ended 31st of December 2023 be received. Please can I have votes for? Come on, don't be shy. We just need to do a head count. Thank you very much. And any votes against, please? Okay, I can confirm on a show of hands that all members present voted in favour of the resolution. We also received 22 proxy votes with unanimous support in favour of this resolution, and therefore I declare the resolution duly carried. Under our second ordinary resolution, we would like to propose that Mazars are reappointed as the auditors of British Dressage and authorise the board to fix their remuneration. So once again, please could I have votes for by a show of hands? Again, please hold those up while we do a quick head count. Thank you very much. And any votes against, please? So once again, I can confirm that on a show of hands, all members present in the room voted in favour of the resolution. We also received 22 proxy votes, with again unanimous support in favour of this resolution, and therefore I declare the resolution duly carried. This year we have no special business, which just leaves me to report on the outcome of this year's director elections. So for our director elections this year, we invited nominations for one member-elected position for BD Youth Director. The previous post holder, Claire Moyer, retired a year early to take on the position of BD nominated director on the BEF board, while Hannah Moody, who was appointed interim BD Youth Director by the board last October, was eligible for nomination. After a formal review by the nominations committee, Hannah Moody was ratified as the sole candidate put forward to the membership vote for BD Youth Director, with an electronic ballot carried out independently by My Voice. In total, 1,542 votes were cast, with the result as follows. 1,515 members were in favour of the appointment, representing 98.2% of the membership who voted, while 27 members registered their vote against. I can therefore formally declare that Hannah Moody has been duly elected as BD Youth Director, with effect formally from today's AGM announcement. Congratulations to Hannah, who's here this evening, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to answer your questions later. We look forward to continuing working with you over the next 4 years. And so that ends the formal business of this year's AGM, and I can now hand you over to our chair, Jill Day, who will give you an overview of the year to date.
Thank you, Jason. I was told I'm too short and the microphone has to come down a bit. So, coming to the end of my second year as chairman, I can honestly say it has been the worst of times and it has been the best of times. Our sport has been under attack like never before. The circumstances before the Olympics has certainly made this a difficult year. Last year we updated our welfare guidelines, launched our charter for the horse and made sure our policies and procedures are up to date. And this year has been proof that those policies and procedures are working. The good news is that in spite of the rising cost of living, our membership continues to grow. We are now the largest Olympic discipline, with our membership peaking at over 19,000 for the first time. Although members have been busy regionally, nationally and internationally, our starter levies show that members are competing less, but are choosing to train more. So regional activity is up, even if the numbers competing are down. Last year we promised a review of the regions. That review has now taken place. On the whole, the feedback was very positive. However, we have taken note of what members felt could be improved, and we will be looking at where we can implement those improvements for next year. Some suggestions were outside the remit of the regional committees and will be kept in mind should things change in the future. The highlight of the year has to be the brilliant Olympics in Paris. Our team were under pressure like never before. The publicity around dressage, and especially our team, was immense. However, our team did not disappoint. A fabulous performance from all of them secured the team bronze, with Lottie Fry also taking individual bronze. Carl, the grandfather of the team, showed just what a cool competitor he is, and under all that pressure, still managed a personal best. Then there was Becky Moody, thinking she was going out for a good experience and a bit of a holiday, to suddenly find she was competing. Well done to Becky and Bom. for not just keeping it together, but amazingly also getting a personal best. What a time to do it. Congratulations also to all the grooms, coaches and support team for handling the pressure and keeping our horses and riders in tip-top condition. No sooner were the Senior Olympics over and we moved on to the Paras. No team medal this time, but our 4 riders each won at least 1 individual medal, bringing home 1 silver and 6 bronze medals between them. Our youth riders also excelled themselves this summer with 3 gold medals, 2 silver, a team bronze, and at the under-21 and under-25 European Championships. For the first time in British history, Great Britain achieved more than 1 European champion title in a single year across the FEI youth age categories. Huge congratulations go to our 3 champions: Children on Horses individual winner, Ella Grace Dovey, Pony freestyle winner, Abigail Gray, and under-25 freestyle winner, Annabella Pidgley. This has been a record-breaking year for British Dressage, with 15 medals won in total, beating the previous high of 14 in a single year. It's also the first time that we've won across 6 different categories in a single year, which shows we now have real strength in depth across our sport and is very exciting for the future. Regionally, we have had members competing at home nations, inter-regionals, inter-county, Sheepgate under-21s and Team Quest. A total of 1,436 members have been down that centre line this year, experiencing what it feels like to be part of a team. Congratulations to all members that have taken part in these team events, as well as those who have achieved their own personal goals. This year we launched our new tests. We consolidated the number of tests at each level down to 6, except intro, which has 4, and advanced medium, which has 5. These are designed to be progressive from 1 to 3 in the short arena and 4 to 6 in the long arena. Some tests were retained with some adjustments, others are new. It was also an opportunity to review all the directives and how the marks are divided, and this is to give greater clarity for riders, coaches and judges. They are now available to purchase and download in a variety of formats, either directly from the website for you to print off in any size you want, or to order physical copies from the office. I'd like to finish by taking this opportunity to thank all the volunteers without who we could not function. Be they regional reps or central committee members, these people all give up their time to keep our sport moving forward. Thank you to the office staff and senior management team who all go above and beyond in making British Dressage the success it is today, as well as the DOs who work tirelessly in the regions. A thank you to our Chief Operating Officer, Ben, especially for all his work on the regional review, which I think turned out to be a much bigger piece of work than was originally intended. A special and personal thank you to our Chief Exec, Jason, who has had to work hard this year to steady the ship, and a massive thank you to the board, who are also all volunteers and give up a lot of their time and share their expertise for the good of the sport. A huge thank you to our organisers, venues, judges, stewards, writers and scorers that make competing possible. And finally, a big thank you to you, the members. BDs for everyone. Whether you want to compete a lot or just a little, or you join for the regional involvement, for whatever reason you are a member, I thank you for your support. And I will now pass back over to Jason Broughton for our CEO's report.
Well, thank you very much, Jill. I will now give you an overview from my perspective as Chief Executive. And starting off with the membership update for this year, membership numbers peaked at 19,150 in midsummer, which is our highest ever level, and still currently stand at 19,133, including our recent Quest Winter League members. Horse registrations have also continued to rise, reaching a peak of 17,330 in Q1, with 17,221 horses currently registered, including again our Quest Winter League horses. Overall starter numbers are down by 11.8% for the year to date, as members choose to compete less frequently, but they are engaging in more regional training activity, which is up by 13.5%. We believe this trend is largely due to the cost of living crisis, with members choosing to stay closer to home to train rather than travelling to compete. Nevertheless, almost 100,000 starters still went down the centre line in the first 9 months of this year, which is still a very impressive number. We also continue our efforts to bring new riders into dressage. Our regions hosted the Path to Paris Have a Go Days in August and September, which saw 178 participants across the 12 events around the country, while we also have 173 new members currently taking part in our Quest Winter League. Now here's a summary of the number of qualifications achieved and entries for our regionals and area festivals over the last 12 months. Despite the general trend in participation, as you can see, these numbers are still very healthy and demonstrate a high level of engagement from our members targeting our championship pathways, with over 9,100 qualifications for both the winter and the summer seasons. While there is no room for complacency, and some consolidation of fixtures will be necessary to ensure the financial viability of our regular competition for venues, there is plenty of demand from riders at all levels, as evidenced by the 1,100 competitors currently taking part in the associated championships down the road at Onley, with horses of all shapes and sizes, which is an incredible number and wonderful to see. Now, as Caroline mentioned earlier, we have invested 185,000 of the 250,000 we set aside for from our reserves for our designated funds to support various projects and initiatives over a 3-year period. Now, the AGM provides me with an ideal opportunity to update members on exactly how this money has been spent to date. We have been very keen to ensure that this money benefits members at all levels of the sport, so hopefully this will demonstrate the depth and breadth of our activities over the past 2 years. On the sports side, we have made financial contributions to venues to support the costs for overseas judges at our domestic, international, CDI and CPEDI competitions. We have provided support for venues to upgrade their music systems so they can accommodate digital formats. We have completed the work on our summer venues, and we're now working on our winter regional and area festivals too. A huge thanks go to Tony Hobden at Equidance for his expertise and support with this project. As many of you will have seen around the country, live scoring has now been implemented across our high-profile championships. We have invested in the hardware, so our teams are now working with Equipe to train our judges and our writers, so we can roll this out further across our regionals and area festivals too. We have also provided additional support for our para venues with a significant investment in mounting blocks to enable safer and easier mounting for our para riders. On the training and education side, we have put a lot of energy and focus on the development of our workforce, with targeted investment to improve the provision of judges and stewards across the country, particularly in remote areas. As part of this activity, we have invested in a new online training platform and digital resources to support CPD activity for our coaches, judges and stewards. It is one of our priorities to professionalise and promote the role of stewards, who play such a vital role in supporting equine welfare. The development programme that we're putting in place will therefore be central to our strategy in the next cycle. This year we have piloted a new mentoring scheme which received excellent feedback from participants, and the next round of applications is due to open shortly. We're committed to expanding this further over the coming years. We're also providing additional training on mental health, first aid and hidden disabilities to support officials in making the transition to para competition. Continuing on para, we have launched our Para Academy and we're delighted to have received over 50 applications for the first 2 cohorts. We have also invested in the pathways for our judges and coaches to ensure that we have sufficient numbers of trained professionals to support all of our para activity. The Stewards Programme will be launched formally before the end of this year. An important area of development for BD has been expanding the range of activities beyond physical impairments and disabilities so that we can offer competition pathways for those with non-classifiable conditions. We launched our partnership with Virtus and Sport Excel earlier this year, which has already been a huge success, with 3 British Dressage riders winning Team Gold at the Virtus Para Dressage Championships at Sparsholt in July, and Virtus classes integrated as part of our Para Summer Championships. Over the last decade, our mission at British Dressage has been to break down the barriers to participation and ensure that the sport is accessible and welcoming to all. Now, we have a proud record in BD of being an inclusive sport, regardless of gender, age, sexuality or ethnicity. Men and women compete on a level playing field, with riders from 8 to 80 taking part in BD competitions and training activity. However, there's still more work to be done, as highlighted by the Horses for All report produced by British Equestrian last year, which is why we have developed our own Diversity and Inclusion Action Plan. The deployment of designated funds has enabled us to make significant progress in this area in the last 2 years, working with a number of external partners to build bridges into dressage. Now, you can see some of the activities summarised on this slide. We are working with organisers to support those with non-visible disabilities and neurodivergent needs, launching the Sunflower Scheme earlier this year, as well as improving accessibility at venues and creating quiet spaces. The pilot for our Urban Equestrian Centre programme at Summerfield in the West Midlands was a huge success, even featuring on BBC Midlands Today, and is now being rolled out in other parts of the country. And we've also invested in mental health training for our staff so we can better support our members. Hopefully, many of you will have taken part in our community activities across the 6 BD regions too, including a health and wellbeing conference, female health webinar, and Riders' Mind sessions. There's always plenty of activity going on in our regions across England, Scotland and Wales, so please do check the BD website, our social media channels, and your regular e-newsletters from your development officers for the latest information and updates. Environmental sustainability is another key area that we've been focusing on over the last 2 years, launching our sustainability strategy in partnership with British Show Jumping in December last year. Since then, we have been working on delivering our action plan, including initial awareness and training activity for all of our staff and our regional volunteers. Our staff have also undertaken carbon literacy training, and we've established a green team at head office to drive some of our sustainability initiatives, including how we use energy, manage our waste, and recycling. We're committed to taking a training and education-led approach, and we'll embed all of those activities into our training for our different stakeholder groups. This will include support for all of our members, and we're working with colleagues across the Federation to launch an online Green Hub next year, which will offer support and guidance to all the different stakeholders across the equine sector. In the meantime, we have already produced podcasts and webinars with our environmental consultants, White Griffin, to provide practical advice and tips. You'll be able to find those online on the BD website. And we will continue to offer specific support to our other stakeholder groups, including our venues and organisers, in the early part of next year. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, equine welfare continues to be at the heart of everything we do at British Dressage. You will hopefully be aware of the Charter for the Horse that Jill mentioned earlier, as well as the Equine Welfare Policy Booklet that we launched at the end of last year. This was supported by producing posters for all BD venues and other tools available via the organisers' online portal. We are also in the process of developing an online platform for members to increase the awareness and understanding of horse care, equine health and stable management. This is currently in the final testing stage, so watch this space, it will be launched very soon. Education on equine welfare topics have been incorporated on the BD website and social media channels, including a vodcast series with Alan Davis. We have also been working with World Horse Welfare and other governing bodies across the equine sector on consumer research, so we can better understand attitudes towards the use of horses in sport, as well as further scientific research to provide better data on tack and equipment, focusing on the well-being and comfort of the horse. So all of this work has been made possible by the investment that we've been made into these different projects and initiatives via our designated funds. You can see that we produced a range of marketing materials to support our designated funds activity, and as you can see from the results here, we promote everything from equine welfare to apprenticeships to sustainability, and to equine science. If you haven't yet seen the videos on our Urban Equestrian Initiative or the vodcast series with Alan Davis, I can highly recommend that you check these out on our YouTube channel. Now, obviously, equine welfare has been the forefront of everyone's minds this year, and dressage has been in the spotlight for all of the wrong reasons. But we want to use the events of this summer as a catalyst for change and a positive force for good. I therefore wanted to share some of the main elements of our equine welfare action plan with you that will feature at the core of our strategy for the next 4-year cycle. This is split into 3 areas: governance, training and education, and sport development. In terms of governance, we've conducted a full review of our structures, policies and procedures to ensure that they are robust and fit for purpose. This has included our codes of conduct, disciplinary processes, and the range of sanctions. A designated welfare and officials officer will be appointed to the head office team to manage the escalation and whistleblowing process. We will also be formulating a sport development committee with responsibility for equine welfare included in the terms of reference. And for that, we'll be recruiting those that have specific technical and veterinary expertise. We're also looking at establishing a formal yellow card warning system for more minor offences in line with the FEI, and we'll also increase the level of reporting for all of our welfare incidents, and that includes eliminations as well as warnings, with a framework to support training and education for any repeat offenders. Now, here you can see a visual of how our committees will be structured going forward from the 1st of January next year. The Sport Development Committee will meet 4 times a year before each board meeting. They'll report and make their recommendations to the board, operating in a similar way to the Finance and Business Development Committee. So the Finance and Business Development Committee effectively consider all of the business development issues that are on the agenda that are reported into the board at each board meeting, and we'll now have the Sport Development Committee likewise doing that on the sports side, but including responsibility for equine welfare. The 6 technical committees that sit underneath those will remain largely the same, although the remit of our Judges Committee will be expanded to include stewards, so that becomes an officials committee, while our Sports Operations Committee reverts to rules and fixtures, and our International Committee will incorporate responsibility for both our under-25 team as well as our under-21 riders. We have a number of panels to deal with specific issues that come into head office, from safeguarding and welfare through to judge complaints and rule disputes. The 5 panels at the bottom operate in an advisory capacity only to support the senior management team and board, while the disciplinary panel in the centre there is the only one with the power to impose any sanctions. The advisory panels can recommend that any breaches of our rules, regulations and codes of conduct are escalated to the disciplinary panel for their deliberation. Those individuals that are appointed to the disciplinary panel will be appointed by the board based on their legal and technical expertise, but most importantly, they remain entirely independent of both the board and the executive team. In terms of training and education, we'll be expanding our programs to ensure that welfare modules are fully embedded in all of our CPD activity. This will include a steward development program, as mentioned earlier, as well as a full review of the welfare guidance given to all of our officials to make sure that we can deliver a consistent approach. We are also exploring whether we should introduce a new voluntary role of welfare marshals who could be appointed to operate at regular BD competitions, but this is probably a slightly longer-term aim. For members, we'll be creating a program of webinars and workshops focused on equine welfare, incorporating sports psychology and equine behavioural science, as well as rolling out our horse care programs on a new digital platform to promote a better understanding of equine health and well-being, stable management, and the correct use and fitting of tack and equipment. Of course, when it comes to equine welfare, much of the focus should rightly be on the sport itself. We'll therefore be working very closely with the FEI and our colleagues across other national federations to review the rules governing the sport to ensure that we encourage best practice, including content and marking schemes that reward a harmonious and natural way of going. Now, this will require a critical assessment of the movements required in tests at higher levels and the demands that this places on the horse, including the coefficient marks. We want to ensure that correct riding and training methods are rewarded, focusing on harmony over tension and submission, such as give and take of the rein. Officials will be better, they'll need better guidelines on the correct use of aids, tack and equipment, and most importantly, we want them to assess the inputs as well as the outputs to improve the level of consistency when it comes to welfare. We're also exploring whether rider skills tests can be adapted to promote the correct use of aids, as well as the rider seat and balance, potentially using these in future to qualify for progression up the levels. So as you can see, an awful lot of work has already been going on behind the scenes to support the development and implementation of our equine welfare policies. But rest assured that this will remain our top priority over coming years. Our sport is under the microscope like never before, and it is our collective duty and responsibility to ensure that we maintain the highest standards of horse care, health and well-being. After all, the core objective of dressage is stated as the development of a happy, healthy athlete through harmonious education. To achieve this, we need to develop our understanding of what constitutes a happy horse. This goes beyond the 5 domains of animal welfare, or the 3 Fs of friends, forage and freedom. We need to ensure that our equine partners have a life well lived, before, during and after their career in dressage. Not just a safe environment, free of pain or illness. I would therefore highly recommend that you register to watch the World Horse Welfare Conference, which is online on this very subject, next week on Thursday, the 7th of November. So that's my roundup of the year to date. I'll now hand you over to our Chief Operating Officer, Ben Waterhouse.
We're being very sustainable this evening that we're sharing notes, because we've only printed out 4 and there's 5 of us, so it's part of our sustainability. Good evening, everyone. You'll be pleased to hear I only have a handful of slides. The bad news is I talk about IT, so I apologise in advance. Over the last 12 months, we've continued our investment and improvements to BD Online. And these have included the ongoing upgrades of the system and security, which is essential to ensure the data we store linked to results, schedules and membership data remains secure. The API development that I'm sure you will remember from last year has now been completed, which links BD Online to other entry providers, including My Riding Life and Equo and Dark Deer. Phase 2 of our member communications project has been scoped and agreed for 2025, which is a significant piece of work for the IT department and will improve the user experience of BD Online, especially using mobile devices. Our 2 members of IT staff have been undertaking a full check and review of the eligibility functionality within BD Online. Now, if you compete or have read through the BD rulebook, which I'm sure many of you have, you'll understand how complex and time-consuming this work is going to be. For the tech geeks out there, we currently have 155 rules. I'm going to read this verbatim because I don't understand it myself, with an average of 2 or 3 conditions for each of them and 14 modifiers, no less, all of which have to be checked twice for passes and fails. So basically that means that we have to run between 9,000 and 13,000 checks across the system to make sure that it functions effectively. So no wonder that the guys who work in IT have got no hair. Further development of the BD website, navigation and layout has now been completed, with the next phase to embed additional video content and to make the website more accessible to begin in the near future. Some regional highlights. As ever, there's been quite a few during the year. As Jason or Gilles mentioned earlier, total activities increased again by 13.5% compared to 2023. This is alongside the continuing focus that the development officers have on supporting our venues and organisers, especially those that host our larger events such as the area festivals, the regionals and the team competitions. As Gilles mentioned earlier, the regional review has re-emphasised the value that members place on the activity organised and delivered across our 6 regions. So I wanted to take this opportunity to recognise and thank the team of development officers and all of our volunteer regional committees for their continued hard work and success during the year. In terms of the regional team competitions, we had a total of 597 combinations taking part in the inter-regionals and home nations in 2024. However, what was even more pleasing was the number of people who put themselves forward to selection and completed the criteria. The numbers coming forward for this year's events were the highest we've seen since the pandemic. Thank you to our regional team competition venues for 2024, which were Pickering Grange, Arena UK, Mount Ballon and Addington. In terms of staff at BD, during 2024 we have welcomed the following new starters to the team. Amy's been mentioned as our financial controller, Chris Phillips in a new role to British Dressage of commercial manager, Lydia Wesley as marketing executive, Izzy McCarthy as sport operations officer, and Anna Chadfield as communications officer. Additionally, Nikki Burt was promoted from a role within sport operations to join the dream team of the development officers in the North and West region. So congratulations and welcome to all of those staff. If you can read it, you probably can't. That is the BD staff structure. Again, the slides are on the website after tonight, so you can look at these to your heart's content. That's broken down by departments and the individuals that work within them. We're also currently recruiting for a new position in training education, plus an executive assistant to support the board, Jason, myself and the SMT. These roles will bring us back to a total of 42 staff, which is back to capacity. As has been mentioned earlier, we couldn't do this without our volunteers. So I want to say a huge thank you to the following individuals who've left their voluntary roles within BD at technical or regional committee level this year. We genuinely couldn't run the sport without the time, effort and input of these volunteers. Thanks to Sarah Kane, who was on the Finance and Business Development Committee, from our regional committees, Jessica Grove from North and East, from Scotland, Sam Turpett, Kerry Sutherland and Mike Whippy, from South and West, Claire Diethrick, Sharon Stewart and Sophie Dickinson, from South and East, Ben Gross, and from Wales, Kethin Ravenhill and Di Breeze. We also had a number of new faces join our committees in 2024, with a handful of vacancies that are due to be advertised in the coming months. So please do keep an eye on the website if you're interested in joining us. As Jason's just mentioned, we're having a restructure of our committee structures, so there's plenty of opportunities going to be coming around towards the end of the year and into the start of 2025. In particular, I wanted to welcome Pam Bushell and Matthew Smith to the South and East region as Chair and Vice Chair respectively. And as mentioned on the slide, we've got a quick plug for the vacancies that we're currently listing, all of which are detailed on the BD website. Thank you.
We're now on to the exciting part of the evening where we have member questions, and we'll shortly hand the floor over to you in case you want to ask anything either of me or the senior management team or the directors we have here this evening. We did have one question submitted formally in advance by Pat Watts, so I'll read out her question verbatim. It comes in 3 parts, as well as my answer. So she asked, or she said, the venue for the National Championships looks stunning this year, but my impression was that footfall looked considerably less than it was at Stoneleigh. So the 3 questions she asked: how many tickets were sold this year and last year at Somerford, and how many tickets are generally sold at Stoneleigh? What was the loss for this year and previous years at Somerford, and what is your strategy to turn that around? So it's a bit of a lengthy answer, but bear with me. Firstly, I think it's important to point out that attendance has actually been in decline year on year at the National Championships since it peaked in 2014. Over the last 10 years, live events have been under pressure due to a number of different factors, from Brexit through to the pandemic, and of course the ensuing cost of living crisis. However, attendance in our first year at Somerford in 2021 was actually greater than our last year at Stoneleigh in 2019. I think everyone would agree that Stoneleigh had become a little bit tired and outdated, and it was time for a change in order to allow the National Championships to grow. Now, the Nationals we stage today is actually very different from the one we had at Stoneleigh 5 years ago. We've increased the number of competitors from around 400 to up to 700, with 3 arenas in operation over the 4 days instead of just 2. Obviously, our overheads and operational costs have increased significantly in that time, particularly because we're now operating on a greenfield site without any permanent infrastructure. To give you a flavour of this, grandstand seating would have cost on average around £13 a seat at Stoneleigh, between £9 and £18 depending on the type. Now it is between £24 and £46. That's an average of £39 per seat, treble the cost. So the ticket price doesn't actually even cover this single element of the show, believe it or not. This year's ticket sales were short of where we would have anticipated and budgeted. It was around about 350 down on last year's figure. But we still have circa 7,500 people on the showground over the course of the week. That's around 2,000 people less than we had at peak a decade ago, but still a very good size audience for an event of this nature. Inevitably, with the rising costs and falling attendance, the national championships have gone from making a surplus at Stoneleigh to a loss each year at Summerford to date, which is now subsidised by British Dressage. Now, we work hard to keep these costs down and make it a manageable amount. On average, it's worked out about £30,000 per annum over the last 3 years, but the board have agreed that it's important for us to have a flagship championship event each year that showcases our sport. To put this into context, we are not alone when it comes to these commercial pressures. Total annual racecourse attendance in the UK peaked at 6 million in 2011 and has been less than 5 million per annum over the last 3 years since the pandemic. They are also down a further 2% for the first 6 months of this year. It's not just horse sport either. Over 100 music festivals were cancelled this year due to no longer being financially viable. 192 have actually disappeared since 2019. To counteract this, we're putting more investment into our marketing and promotional activity. This year we put an extra £5,000 into social media advertising, aimed at equestrian supporters who would be positively predisposed to an event like the Nationals, as well as additional direct mail activity to those members within a 50-mile radius or a 1 hour's drive time of the event who had not been to the championships before. We continue to innovate and we try different things each year to promote the event, but there's no doubt it's very hard work, even generating the level of sales that we've had this year. Rest assured, we're never complacent about this, and we had a very productive meeting with our organisers, Show Direct, earlier this week, to brainstorm ideas and initiatives for 2025 to see what we can do to buck these trends and increase the crowds again at Summerford next year. So thank you very much, Pat. I hope that answers your detailed three-part question. I can confirm that that was the only question that we formally received in advance of the AGM. So do we have any other questions from the floor here, either for me, for the chair, for our deputy, or any other member of the senior management team or board here this evening? Please feel free to raise your hand and someone will come around with a mic. Yeah.
Hold this, like by your chin, just speak into there.
Okay. Para judges are really short everywhere. Is it possible that all judges that are eligible to become para judges, I think that's list 3, is that right? Is it possible that it can be like compulsory? You can't opt in, as opposed, that everybody who's a list 3 judge also has to be a para judge?
I think for this question, I will hand it over to our training and education manager, who's been doing a lot of work on this area. If we could pass a mic round to Charlotte. Charlotte will answer that question because we are working on our competition development pathways to ensure that our judges and our coaches, as well as our stewards, make the transition from able-bodied competition to support more para activity.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Yeah, it's an interesting question with regards to people opting out. We've had similar conversations around things like music judging, young horse judging, that sort of thing. It is obviously an extension of the judging practices anyway, but there are also some specifics around becoming a para judge. And we just think it's really important that people it's something they're passionate about and it's something they really want to do. We also don't want to potentially put people off judging if maybe they're not interested in judging para. I mean, they should be, but it doesn't mean that we can mandate that. So it'd be interesting to hear your ideas about how we could incentivise it, though, if you wanted to come and find me after this and talk through some ideas.
The one thing I will say is that what we're trying to do is break down the barriers associated with para competition. So one of the reasons or feedback that we had from our judges, stewards and coaches were that they were scared they didn't have the skills, the knowledge, the understanding to be able to work with those with physical impairments and disabilities, as well as able-bodied competition. So we've tried to remove some of those fears, tried to remove some of those preconceptions or assumptions that people have about para competition. I think we're in a lot better stage now than we were, certainly in terms of the numbers. We will have a report, incidentally, following this. It includes a lot more of the numbers. I didn't want to bore everyone with just a wall of figures this evening, but actually it does show that there are lots of new judges and coaches coming through those development pathways and making that transition into para competition. But thank you very much for the question. Lottie?
So add to that,
Yeah.
as a para-judge and a non-para-judge, it's not just the judges, it's actually venues being prepared to put on the competitions. Because I'm happy to judge, and I offer all venues, and whenever I judge, I say, do you want to put para classes on? I'm happy to judge them, etc., etc. But a lot of venues don't put the classes on.
That's always a challenge and always a difficulty. And in particular, we are dealing with obviously quite a small select audience still, I think up to 250 para riders. And obviously they're spread right across the country. And it is a challenge making sure that we've got sufficient competition going on for them, particularly even at CPEDI level, where we've had to heavily subsidise those events to ensure that we have coverage alongside our CDI competitions. I don't know if anyone else from the board wants to comment on that. Unfortunately, Tracy Ormerod isn't here this evening, but what I'll ask her to do is perhaps pass on her comments and views about the para development side and plans that she's got for the venues in particular for the future. Near the front.
I'm sorry, it's same topic, but I'd like to echo what Lottie says. As a para judge, I was very excited to become a para judge, and I'm enormously disappointed that I get to do so little of it. So I have to wonder if it's not a shortage of the judges, but the fact that we do have to travel quite a distance and that venues don't have the finances to pay for that. So maybe British Dressage could support venues who are wanting to put on the para classes, which would encourage more competitors and actually enable people who are really keen to come and judge to come and judge.
Absolutely, and I think we have seen huge growth in our para programs. We must remember that 10 years ago we only had 70, 80 riders registered on our para programs, and we're now talking about between 230 and 240 active at any one time. So we are growing, but it's still a very small part of our wider audience. So it has to be proportionate. We have now 3 sections for our paras, as we do with our able-bodied competition in terms of gold, silver, bronze. And we're developing those structures all the time. The point is very much taken, however, that we need to do more to continue to grow. We work with our partners at RDA and other organisations, as I mentioned earlier, with Virtus and Sport Excel, to try and grow that base, and also to try and grow it beyond the confines of just classifiable physical impairments as well. I think that's what will help para competition grow, so that we're not just talking about the 5 grades. We're looking at grades 6 and 7. We're looking at other opportunities for those riders that have non-visible impairments as well. Well, I'm very pleased that we had 3 questions on paras. That makes a nice change. But thank you for those. Anyone else got any other topics they would like us to cover? Another question from the middle, please.
You okay?
So I'm Santa from Gordon Dressage Group in Aberdeenshire. Obviously this week with the loss of Kingston, and we're facing similar issues in Aberdeenshire. We're running competitions maybe slightly differently to some venues because we have to hire venues, because we're not a venue as such, and we're not for profit, so we can afford to maybe take staff judges up to Scotland and things like that. But what we're finding is we're constantly making a loss. We ran an area festival this year and lost £1,000. With this in mind, are British Dressage kind of looking at initiatives or trying to find ways to maybe make dressage more profitable?
We are. The problem that we've got is very, very much in common across the whole sector, in that compound inflation has increased by 20% over the last 3 years alone. That makes it really challenging for all of us, because obviously our prices haven't gone up and kept pace with that. So everything from energy and transportation costs and so on, hookups, etc., all of those costs have gone through the roof, particularly during the cost of living crisis. And unfortunately, whether it's our own membership fees or indeed entry fees for venues, they haven't kept pace with inflation. So that is something that we're looking at, quite critically assessing at the moment. I think it's going to be a dual-pronged attack, is the honest answer, because I think we've probably got too many fixtures. I mentioned earlier that we're looking at a consolidation next year. We want to increase the number of competitors per class. Those class sizes need to go up to ensure that we have financially viable shows for our venues. So we do need to make sure that that works. We're working with our sport operations team and the development officers to actually critically assess the activity that's going on in each region. So we're rewarding and recognising those venues that are investing and putting on good quality competition and experience for our members, and perhaps not running so frequently with those that don't give us the same level of support. So there will be some critical evaluation going on there. Alongside that, we're looking at the costs. So actually our entry fees will be going up. And more information will follow in December when we have our organisers' webinars. Lou, do you want to say anything more at this stage? Probably not.
I didn't really hear the start of the question.
Lou's just been pulled in from outside. I think I probably answered it for now, but Lou will be leading the organisers' webinars in December, and so more information will follow very shortly, but we are acutely aware of the problem, and we'll be looking to address it in various different ways, hopefully in advance of our fixture lists in 2025. But thank you. Sorry, can you pass the mic?
Just hold
Thank
it
you.
just by your chair. Just this bit here.
Hi, if they're going to consolidate venues for competitions, will that then encourage venues to run the full range of competitions rather than finishing, say, elementary or medium, so that the high levels can continue to compete, because it's already difficult at the high levels to find shows?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always a question of balance, and when I say consolidation, it's primarily the number of fixtures as opposed to venues, although there will be critical assessment of some venues too. But, you know, we may need to look at restricting, say, to 2 shows a month per venue to make sure that actually they become competitive and that we increase the class sizes. And in doing so, we can then look at what levels of competition are available at each show. But again, it's always a balance. We've got to make sure that there are sufficient opportunities for people at all levels and that people don't have to travel too far in order to compete at the level that they're at. So it's always a tricky balance, but Lou is working with a team to evaluate that at the moment. A lot of work's going on behind the scenes, working with our data analysts as well to make sure that we understand exactly what that pattern is across the country.
I would just like to sort of add on to sort of the higher levels. There are some venues will be restricted to, say, advanced medium or lower levels by choice, or whether they haven't got suitable facilities to run those higher levels. But also we have to remember when we get to those higher levels, we have a smaller pool of riders. So having 5 or 6 venues in a month running all the way up to Grand Prix actually pulls all of those members in different directions, but also you're putting extra pressure on judge resource. There are, in some areas, you haven't got the correctly listed judges to do that competition. So that is all factored in to when we do the fixtures and at what levels venues can and can't run and how often they can run.
So hopefully that answers to a certain degree, but as I say, we'll be tackling this over coming months. Lou has got a plan in place, a plan of action, and that'll be communicated out to organisers in due course, hopefully in the next few weeks. Okay, any other questions, any topics? We also remember have, as well as Jill and Caroline, we also have Hannah and Judy here if there are any questions about youth or international. We're happy to take on any topic. Okay, I'll give it a few more seconds just in case anyone's brave enough to put their hand up. No? Okay, that's great. Well, thank you very much for those questions. Now, before closing this part of the evening, I would just like to put in a plug for our flagship training event, which will be taking place at Hartpury University and College next month on Saturday the 23rd and Sunday the 24th of November. So this is the equivalent to our national convention, but following member feedback as a result of the survey that we conducted earlier this year, we're trialling a new concept this year called BD Presents, which focuses more on practical hints and training tips for riders at all levels, featuring regular horses of all shapes and sizes. Now, this event will be hosted by our Olympic and Paralympic stars, Becky Moody and Sophie Wells, plus some special guests on both days, both equine and human. So don't miss your chance to book your place. Tickets are currently available via the BD website. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their support during what has been quite a difficult and challenging year for British Dressage. Please be assured we never take this for granted. We must focus, however, on the positives and remember just how far we have come over the last decade. There is still so much to celebrate in the success that we've enjoyed this year, and we will continue to work tirelessly on your behalf to ensure that there's a bright future for the sport. Now, we'll now take a short 10 to 15 minute break in proceedings here to give everyone the chance to have a comfort break and grab a drink. But if you're watching online, don't leave us just yet. When we come back, we'll be giving out special awards to some unsung heroes from across the regions. So if you're watching at home, please do stay tuned. And during this interval, we'll hear from each of the board directors who will give you a brief summary of the key developments in their respective technical areas in the last 12 months. That's for people watching and listening at home. In the meantime, thank you very much for your attention, and that concludes this year's AGM.
Sorry, I'll shout rather than use the mic.
Good evening, everyone. 2025 has been a busy year for sport operations. Not only have we had to change over to the new set of tests, but we have begun to implement some of the changes aimed at providing even more opportunities for the Silver Rider Group. We've made some changes in previous years, which have been mostly aimed at protecting the area festival level of competitions. We've continued to review the opportunities for the silver section, both at the regionals and the high-profile levels. The introduction of the high-profile day at Somerford Premier League was widely welcomed, and next year this will be extended to the Myerscough Premier League as well. This will mean that there are now 6 high-profile dates across the year to complement the 7 Premier Leagues. We will be looking for additional opportunities to run high profiles in the summer if the demand is there. We will also be making some changes to the eligibility tables to allow combinations moving up the levels in the regionals for the first time to remain in silver for longer. We hope this will encourage more combinations to give the regionals a go, especially at the elementary level and below. One further aspect of the rules we will review in 2025 will be how regional qualifications are gained. This will be finalised once the competition data from the introduction of the new tests is available. Sport operations will also be looking closely at the member experience when they go out to compete. We will be looking to make it clearer to members what they can expect from each venue in terms of facilities and other services at the point of entry. One critical aspect of this, which impacts on members and their horses alike, is the provision of appropriate marshalling or stewarding at venues. In conjunction with the Training and Education Committee, we will be looking at ways to eventually provide a minimum level of stewarding and marshalling at all BD competitions. This will be phased in as soon as we can deliver the necessary training to venue staff, but the aspiration is to make self-stewarding a thing of the past. This is a crucial aspect of ensuring that British Dressage's Charter for the Horse and the Code of Conduct for Horse Welfare can be implemented to the fullest possible extent across all competitions and at all levels. The introduction of more relaxed rules on competition dress last year has been widely welcomed. We hope that members will appreciate a further relaxation we intend to make for next year in that waistcoats will now be permitted for all competitions, including championships, at the sole choice of the rider, providing they conform to the same rules as jackets in terms of colour, style and pattern. We have not forgotten our quest and our club members. We have one more year of 10 semi-finals to complete, but we will be looking at the Quest competition structure to see if we can make the transition between Quest and full membership competitions even smoother than it is now. Finally, in the near future, we will be publicising several vacancies on the main Sport Operations Committee, which also provides the members of the Rules and Eligibility Working Group. I would recommend you keep an eye out for the adverts on the usual British Dressage social media channels and website, as we'd love to have your ideas to make the sport even stronger. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hannah Moody and I'm the Youth Director for British Dressage. We've had a fantastic year so far, both from a competitive point of view with regards to how amazingly well our youth teams did internationally, but also from the education and training that we do within youth. We've had a lot of new developments, a lot of exciting things happening. One of those things is horse care, which is something which I think is incredibly important for us to be promoting and helping our young riders with. We've got a brilliant online platform just starting up now, which is very exciting and it looks great and it's very interactive. So lots of exciting stuff for our youth riders to do there. And they also have the opportunity to do training and take tests in horse care as well. So really good way of learning about horses and how to look after them and welfare. So lots of good things happening there. Another exciting thing which has been going on for a while but is starting to take off a little bit more is our apprenticeships within British Dressage. We've got quite a few starters on those schemes and we've also had some people complete them, and they are proving to be popular and a great opportunity for all sorts of members, youth members, to learn within BD. Another thing that we've started with is mentoring within BD Youth, which again, it's a new thing, but it has taken off well, and it's an opportunity for young people to learn from and get help with all sorts of different aspects on a one-to-one basis. And it's a great way for young people to develop and understand things more about the sport. Another exciting thing is our youth panel, which is a very new thing, has taken over from youth ambassadors, and we're hoping that this will give a voice to our younger members and they'll be able to talk back to the youth committee, give us different ideas about areas that we can improve in and different things for the future. We've got our regional youth competitions, which have been very successful this year. So the interregionals, the Home Nations and Sheepgate, loads of teams competing within those, a lot of enjoyment, good feedback from all our members who've taken part in those. The academies have been going well, and we've had good uptake this year, and people who have done those over the last few years have really enjoyed them. So yeah, continuing to develop and improve those. The other thing that we have been working hard on is educating our coaches, both in delivering the horse care, but also in training youth members. And we've got lots of CPD and different exciting things going on in that.
Hi, I'm Harry Payne, and I'm your BD Training Director. Just to give you a brief overview of what we've done this year. The main project was a mentoring pilot scheme, which has been really successful, and we'll soon be launching the initiative to wider members and workforce. The initiative has provided a more individualised approach to personal and professional development, and the feedback has been excellent from both mentors and mentees. We've been working to develop greater collaborative projects across the other member bodies to streamline opportunities on offer to coaches and the education workforce. More information will become available on this over the next few months. We've continued to develop stewarding, having recently conducted a survey with the venues and the stewards We'll be learning from the feedback how to shape the education and also the terms under which stewards and organisers are going to work together going forwards. Next year, we'll be building on the CPD offering, which will be complemented by a range of new courses and activities available on our new online learning platform, which will be launched later this year. And we will continue to further develop wider member education opportunities in key topics such as horse management and welfare. We're really excited for the launch of the all-new British Dressage Presents event on the 23rd and 24th of November at Hartpury College, with headliners Becky Moody and Sophie Wells. Following feedback from our members, we took on board your thoughts and have given the event a shake-up to make it more relevant to the wider membership. We will also be joined by a whole host of special guests covering a range of topics, and we really hope to see you all there.
Hi, I'm Peter Storr, BD Judges Director. It's been a great year so far for judge assessment, with strong numbers coming forward for assessment in the spring and the autumn. In 2024, we've spent time developing and improving the materials that help to upskill our judge educators, tutors and assessors. This hopefully will give judges coming forward to the assessments a better experience. We've also begun a programme to offer support to those in more remote parts of the country to ensure equal opportunity for all, regardless of location, and this seems to have been very popular. The Principles of Dressage again ran very successfully in March with our new format, which we allowed judges and coaches to come together and offered a balanced viewpoint from both roles. Look out for our new date in March 2025. Looking forward to next year, we're also looking to launch a range of on-demand training opportunities, utilising our new online learning platform. This will allow judges to access a range of activities and training with our new provider.
I'm Suzanne Homewood, the Business Development Director for British Dressage, and I'm going to talk through our year for Marcoms, commercial and membership. So membership, we've had a really great year with numbers staying strong across the year, running consistently over 19,000. And horse registration numbers have reached a record high of over 17,500. The new British Dressage tests have been a joint effort across the business, with members needing help and support to understand the new format and how to get their new tests in time for the season. Physical delivery of the test plans was a momentous effort in the office, and Rachel and the membership team are hugely grateful to the support they received to ensure that the test sheets were delivered to our members on time. And following Paris 2024, each region took part in a membership campaign with the British Dressage Path to Paris Have a Go Day. These exciting days have been a huge success, with class tickets made available to prospective members or people coming back to the sport, and an informative welcome evening talk to be delivered for those keen to start their British Dressage journey. And in marketing, the BD website has enjoyed a complete overhaul this year, with work successfully completed on moving to a new content management system. This has allowed for a renewed navigation designed to improve the user journey and further integration of video and social media feeds, allowing the website to continue progressing in line with our new exciting content. The Olympic and Paralympic Games were a highlight for the team, as marketing and communications providing top quality content throughout the summer, including a membership campaign called My Gold Medal, which allowed all members the chance for their own rider stories to be featured alongside coverage of the highest level of the sport, a really exciting initiative. British Dressage continues to enjoy the support of a dedicated family of sponsors and partners, and we're delighted to continue our long-standing relationship with NAF, who renewed their Winter Championship contract this year. Existing partners and National Championship sponsors Lemieux also extended their support of British Dressage, becoming title sponsors for Quest. And we also welcomed new marketing affiliate sponsors, providing new and exciting member benefits. Sytner Land Rover became our new National Championship car supplier, who provided value support at Summerford Park earlier in the summer, helping to make the arenas look amazing. Video content has been a key focus for us this year, with some new series published on YouTube and the BD website, including a horse care series with Super Groom, Alan Davis, and the podcast channel was launched in the spring with ongoing series for youth para riders and plenty more content to come.
Hi, I'm Tracy Ann Ormrod and I'm Para Director. 2024 has been an amazing year for the development of para dressage. At home, we saw the move of the gold semi-finals to Hartpury to join up with our bronze and silver summer championships. This championship has grown significantly over the last couple of years, with full classes for our RDA Grade 6 and 7 championship, and for the first time classes for Virtus riders. We saw much higher entries across the board, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can consolidate and improve the experience for all riders. We are now 1 year into running the Para Academy, and application numbers for this year's cohort have doubled, a sign I feel that shows how positive and rewarding the Academy is for all those involved. I look forward to seeing how well this year's attendees progress over the year and hope that you all enjoy your Academy experience. As we end 2024, I would like to thank all of you for supporting the para community, and I look forward to all the events we have planned for 2025.
If everyone could take their seat now, please. We'll begin again very shortly. So please take your seats. We'll start in just 2 minutes' time.
I'll let you do that because Millie finishes. The first long drink is on us. Bottle of wine. We're back on again. Yep, lovely. Millie, is that low enough? Can everyone hear me? Yes. Wonderful. When Millie comes up, I'll just have to lower the mic a little bit. Good evening, everyone, again. Thank you for joining or staying with us, those of you who've been here for the duration. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Ben Waterhouse. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for British Dressage. And this is my colleague, Camille Peters, who is our Communications Manager, who will also be hosting the awards this evening. Think of us as a budget Tess and Claudia. I'll let you decide which one is which. We're really proud to be able to present a very special set of awards to celebrate the achievements of some unsung heroes from across our regions. From our riders to coaches, judges, stewards and volunteers, there's a vast network of people who make the sport happen. So we want to take this opportunity to show our thanks and appreciation for everything you do. Tonight we've got 10 award categories that recognise outstanding contribution in key areas, as well as some standout achievements in the saddle. We asked each of our 6 regions to put forward candidates for these awards, and these nominations were based on criteria including achievements over the last 12 months, contribution to and awareness across the region, a commitment to BD values, and support for our regional activities. These nominations were then considered by an independent panel of former regional chairs, headed by the BD chair, Jill Day, and Jill will also be presenting the awards this evening to our recipients. As in the previous year, the standard of nominees was incredibly high, and our panel certainly had a challenging task at hand in selecting tonight's winners. However, the panel wanted to highlight that everyone nominated should be incredibly proud to have been put forward by their region. And I'm sure you'll join us in celebrating and congratulating them all. To be nominated in such a small group of people from the entirety of the UK is a real achievement in itself. So the process we'll follow for each category tonight is to announce each of the nominees and then the winner or winners. If your name is read out as a winner, then please make your way to the front to receive your award in front of this beautiful black backdrop, where we'll also do a photograph with Jill as well. Whilst that is taking place, myself and Camille will read the citations that were provided by the regional committees. So again, please bear with us. We'd like lots of applause and whooping and shouting as the winners come up, but then a little bit of peace and quiet while we explain why they've won. That'll be really, really good. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Camille to begin our awards.
Evening, everyone. Consider me, Tess Daly, the considerably shorter. So, to begin our 2024 Region Celebration Awards, we're starting with the MyQuest Award. The nominees put forward by each region are as follows: Beth Harrison from North and East, Lottie Cowley from North and West, Kaylee Stewart from Scotland, Bryony Payne from South and East, Sarah Chandler from South and West, and Anne Jones from Wales. And the joint winners of the MyQuest Award are Lottie Cowley from North and West and Anne Jones from Wales. Lottie, Anne, please join us at the front to collect your award from Jill. Lancashire-based Lottie, who's just 12 years old, has made an impressive start to her dressage career with her 19-year-old pony, Dolderwood Magnet. This year, Lottie and Magnet progressed from their first ever BD test to earning 34 points throughout the summer season. Lottie's dedication to competing has seen her earn a place at the top of the Radford's introductory leaderboard, just a reward for her talent and time spent competing across the north of the region. BD Wales rider Anne brings the true spirit of Quest to all that she does, standing out in the community, not just for her signature love of pink, but for her dedication and positive spirit. Anne has been competing her cow pony in intro classes and aims to continue her Quest journey at prelim level next season. Anne has been a committed team member, navigating schedule and location complexities, and can often be found marshalling or calling tests with her trademark smile. She's a true asset to her region, both in and out of the saddle. Well done to both Lottie and Anne.
So everyone happy with the format now? Millie, you happy with the format as well?
Yeah, I've got it.
Perfect. Okay, we're staying with Quest. Is that a round of applause? No. We're staying with Quest as we move on to the Team Quest Award, and the nominees are Team LWD from North and East, Back on Track, North and West, the Free Rainers, Scotland, my favourite name of the night, Cabernet Sauvignon, South and East, New Forest Dancing Queens, South and West, and another good name, Gigi and Tonic, Wales. And the winner of the Team Quest Award is, and it might take them a while to get up here, Gigi and Tonic from Wales. We have got certificates for you all, but just not trophies for each of you. And the winner of the Team Quest Award said that bit, led by Chef to Keep Nikki Williams. Gigi and Tonic is made up of a group of friends and their horses who love spending time with each other and enjoying dressage. Congratulations to Mindy Randell, Carrie Moore, Gemma Parton, Rachel Reddyhoff, thank you, Sarah Reddyhoff, and Deb Cairns-Stoll. You're going to get in. Their focus on fun, friendship and teamwork creates an inclusive and encouraging environment, making every event a memorable experience. They're not just competitors, but ambassadors of the Quest ethos, showing that the journey and shared moments are just as valuable as the results. And the drinks afterwards, by any chance? Yeah. Their positive energy is a constant presence at every competition, lifting spirits and fostering a sense of camaraderie. We're delighted to welcome some, all members of the team here to collect their award today. Well done.
So we're now going to move on to a series of awards that recognise the achievements of those in the saddle, starting with the Para Rider Award. And the nominees are Mark Griffin from North and East, Ellie Hamilton from North and West, Kyla Mantella-Ross from Scotland, Sarah Oram from South and East, Noella Angel from South and West, and Jess Pritchard from Wales. And the joint winners of the Para Rider Award are Sarah Oram from South and East and Kyla Mantilla Ross from Scotland. Sarah is described by her peers as a ray of sunshine, helping everyone she can, whilst always remaining upbeat and encouraging. In her personal life, Sarah faces physical challenges on a daily basis, riding through a tough few years and never failing to find the positives in life. This year, Sarah brought an idea to life in establishing a buddy system for newly graded para riders. She's arranged to get together with the Para Home Nations team, not just for the South and East region, but for those from other regions too. 18-year-old Kyla has overcome multiple health challenges, including heart, brain, and eye surgeries, hydrocephalus, chronic lung disease, chronic fatigue, and learning difficulties. Despite weakened coordination, balance, and strength, Kyla has shown incredible determination in taking part and succeeding in British dressage. Kyla trains regularly and travels long distances from her home in the north of Scotland to compete, attending numerous national competitions despite the challenges of living in a remote area. Kyla has progressed from the start of her journey in 2022 to representing Scotland at the Para Home Nations and securing a spot on the Horse Scotland Performance Squad. Huge congratulations, Kyla and Sarah.
Just give a pause. We're rattling through too quickly. Both are.
Both of us.
Jason says we need to hurry up because he wants to get to the bar again. Next up, we celebrate the achievements of our youth riders. The nominees are Catherine Chalkley, North and East; Amelia Dovey, North and West; Jessie Clark, Scotland; Lily Day, South and East; Daisy Bellamy, South and West; Phoebe Greenaway, Wales. The joint winners of the Youth Rider Award are Kathleen Chalkley from North and East and Daisy Bellamy from South and West. BD South and West rider Daisy has been actively involved in youth activities in the region for 3 years, and she's still only 10 years old. She regularly attends inter-county and inter-regional competition and has just taken part in her first Home Nations event. Daisy is getting ready for the Step Up to C Squad activity, having progressed from Quest and BD Prelim, notching up several wins on her journey. She can often be seen sheet running, delivering refreshments, helping in the office, and most importantly, supporting and watching her peers. Always happy, bubbly and fun, was never afraid to ask a question or ask for help. Catherine is a shining star in the North and East region. She won the Sheepgate Youth Trophy at 2023 North and East Awards, recognising her potential, whilst also being a member of the winning Youth Interregional team in the same year. In 2024, Catherine qualified and competed at the Petplan Area Festival finals and has attended several area festival and championship events throughout the year. She's a proactive, supportive BD member, both in person and online, where her Facebook posts are an inspiration to all youth riders, setting a great example to others in the digital space. Digital space? I thought so. Digital space. Well done to both Catherine and Daisy.
Our third and final award celebrating achievements in the saddle recognises our senior riders. The nominations for the 2024 Senior Rider Award are Kate Johnston from North and East, Shirley Wright from North and West, Karen Dewar from Scotland, Jade Philbin from South and East, Verity Perry from South and West, and Steph Mansell from Wales. The joint winners are Jade Philbin from South and East and Verity Perry from South and West. Jade is a great example of how to progress through the BD pathway. She started in both Team Quest and MyQuest, but well and truly caught the team bug. Jade then progressed to the South and East Inter-County Championships, then gained a team place for both the Inter-Regionals and the Home Nations. Jade is a fabulous example to new members and is often seen advising and supporting others. She's travelled the length and breadth of the country for the region, taking part in team events and showing plenty of team spirit. As well as riding, Jade frequently helps local venues and is always willing to offer to ride at seminars and demos in the region. South and West senior rider Verity is described as the most supportive team player and one that brings pirate outfits, paddling pools, and blow-up crocodiles to team events. Oh, upcoming, wait for it. Verity is an active and successful competitor, regularly venturing from her home in Cornwall to attend area festivals, regionals, and championships, never forgetting Cornish pasties for a stay-away event. She's shown great dedication in training her horses herself, from backing right through to Inter One. Verity is a passionate supporter of dressage in Cornwall and the South West, hosting training events and demos from her base, as well as being a key supporter of youth activity in the region too. Both of our winners are shining examples of senior participation in the regions. Congratulations to you both.
So we're going to move on from the Rider Awards now to our Steward Award. And the nominees are Nick Rogers, North and East. Pat Layton, North and West. Margaret Parker, Scotland. Mel Bailey, South and East. Sandy Laughlin, South and West. And again, Nick Rogers, Wales. And the winner of the Steward Award is one and the same person, nominated twice, Nick Rogers from South and West. Nominated by both the North and East and Wales regions, Nick is a stalwart at major events across the country, including Premier Leagues, team competitions and championship finals. Always friendly and approachable, Nick has been a huge support to several trainee stewards completing their mentoring. He's a cool, calm figure under pressure, working hard to always ensure tricky situations are handled with tact and diplomacy, looking to help horse and rider keep on the right side of the rule book. Nick is well known to organisers in both regions who have found him excellent to work with. Both North and East and Wales regional committees have greatly valued his input and support at events and for his guidance to members. Well done, Nick.
Our next award recognises coaches in the regions and all the hard work that they do. The nominees for the Coach Award are Vicky Hayton from North and East, Joe Swain, North and West, Scott McClellan from Scotland, Katie Dartnell from South and East, Tina Burrow from South and West, and Diane Hesketh-Jones from Wales. And the winner is Scotland's Scott McClellan. Scott is an accomplished BD UK CC Level 3 coach, BD Youth coach and assessor, and a British Equestrian coach for excellence. Utilising his talent for sharing knowledge, Scott has made significant contributions to the dressage community in Scotland, coaching riders of all levels and producing young horses. Scott excels in supporting grassroots and youth riders. His empathetic, enthusiastic and fun approach to coaching make him a firm favourite amongst his students and across the region. Alongside coaching, Scott is a strong supporter of activity in Scotland and frequently volunteers for coaching roles and steps up to offer help in any way he can. Scott remains dedicated to improving his skills to be able to best look after his students and recently qualified as a BD para coach too. He's always the first to congratulate riders on their success and genuinely makes members feel really valued within the sport. Congratulations, Scott.
The next award is our Judge Award, and the nominees are Andrea Smith from North and East, Sarah Leach, North and West, Caroline Patterson, Scotland, Lottie Olsen, South and East, it's a very loud clap for Lottie. What's she offered free? What's she offering free drinks after, is she? Sue Petty, South and West, and Alison Payne from Wales. And the winner of the Judge Award is Alison Payne from Wales. Alison is a dedicated and passionate List 3 judge, one of only 8 in Wales, representing the highest level of judging within the region, and is frequently invited to judge at regional championships. The commitment to BD is evident in her enthusiastic involvement in regional activity for judges and coaches. She's also a BDCC Level 2 coach and seamlessly integrates this experience into her judging role, always ensuring a supportive and educational experience for all riders. Alison's love of dressage is matched by her passion to help others grow, develop and achieve their goals, and her contributions extend beyond the judges' box, as she's delivered insightful talks and advice via Zoom sessions to inspire and educate members at various levels, as well as judging at the recent Path to Paris taster sessions. As well as continuing to build her own skills with dedication to CPD, in her professional life, Alison works with organisations and individuals offering mentoring, coaching and leadership development. BD Wales is lucky to benefit from the support of such an outstanding individual. Excellent work, Alison.
Next up, we have our Volunteer Award to recognise those that selflessly give up so much of their time for BD. The nominees are Leslie Francescan from North and East, Jackie Crombie from North and West, Samantha Turpett from Scotland, Louise Clark from South and East, Julie Smith from South and West, Carolyn Taylor also from South and West, and Nina Boex from Wales. And the Volunteer Award goes to Jackie Crombie from North and West. Staffordshire-based Jackie has been a shining star in the North and West region for over a decade. In this time, she's spent 8 years as senior rider rep and has been a kind, constant and calm presence at shows, events and training across the region. She's a long-term member of BD as a dedicated competitor, committed volunteer and steadfast advocate for the sport. Even after her term as senior rep concluded and despite health challenges, Jackie continued to support riders at competitions and offered valued help to the new development officer and senior rider reps with team selection. Jackie has spared hours of her own time to support and help the members in the region. She's legendary for being the quickest and most accurate scorer anyone has ever met, and there's rarely a question that she could not answer. One of the North and West team members reflected on her time volunteering in the region, saying, "We've been incredibly lucky to have had the benefit of Jackie's time and dedication as members, and will always be grateful for her support and assistance over the years. She is an incredible lady who has been beyond generous with her time and knowledge." Congratulations, Jackie.
The final award of the evening is a special one. The Outstanding Contribution Award is nominated by Jill as BD Chair and presented in recognition of someone who has given much to British Dressage over many years. This year, the award has been presented to Jane Pebbody from North and East. Okay, there's quite a lot to read here, so bear with me. Jane is a BD List 1 judge, coach, BD Youth Assessor and former FEI Para judge. She holds a BDCC Level 3 coaching certificate and has been the key to unlocking dressage for countless combinations from novice to advanced level, bringing the valuable view of both coach and judge to any who ask for her help. Shouldn't have had a gin and tonic. Utilising her vast judging experience, having notched up many appearances on championships, ground juries across the years, Jane served on the BD Judges Committee for 8 years and also spent time as regional chair for the Northern region, working alongside the RDO, Sarah Huntridge. Jane's commitment to education and development has been second to none. She's been a key supporter of judge education activity, presenting at events such as the Principles of Judging Seminar, whilst delivering various training and test writing clinics across the BD regions. BD Judges Director and colleague of Jane, Peter Storr, commented on her contribution to the sport. I'm delighted to see Jane's commitment and contribution to British Dressage being recognised with the Outstanding Contribution Award. She's been a superb right-hand woman to me in my role as Judges Director and was a great support during my transition to Chair of the Judges Committee. Jane's knowledge as a horsewoman, judge and coach have been vital to us in developing educational opportunities, and her impact will be felt and appreciated by many members for a long time to come. A warm congratulations to Jane for this special award.
So that concludes our Regional Celebration Awards for 2024. Well done and congratulations once again to everyone who was nominated. We hope you enjoyed the awards ceremony and some of Ben's really terrible jokes. And thanks to all of you for making the journey to Warwickshire to join us this evening. We have certificates for all of the nominees, so please come and collect yours before you leave this evening. And finally, please can we have all of the winners in the room who've already been up and collected your trophies and your certificates. Can you guys come back and join us for a group photo? For those of you who are here, you're welcome to join us for some drinks and canapes over the next hour or so. And to everyone at home, thank you for watching this evening. We hope to see you at a BD competition, training event or championship very soon.
Just to very quickly end on some really good news. The money we've saved on Tess and Claudia means we can afford to buy all of you another drink. So get in. So whilst we're setting up and the food's being sorted and things, please go and help yourself. I'm going to say if the bar will be open, but go to one of the bars that's open and have another drink on BD. One only, please. Budgets are tight. Thank you very much.